Hi and welcome to this week's Bitrix24 live. We're going to be here for the next hour and I can answer any questions that you may have on Bitrix. So whether you're using the cloud version of Bitrix or the on-premise version, I can answer any questions that you may have. So do please put the questions in the box provided on YouTube and I can answer them as we go along. If you do have any questions throughout the week, please do send them to live@intraface.com and we can pick them up at the start of next week's session, so we can go through them next week. And just a little bit about us. We are Intraface. We are partners, gold partners of Bitrix, and we have an office in the US, the UK, and in the UAE. So our contact details are on the screen. So if you do have any inquiries about Bitrix or you want a one-to-one demonstration, then we can arrange that. We also offer premium support services. So we offer a ticketing support and we also offer telephone support to our premium support customers. So we know we are very experienced in Bitrix. We have Bitrix developers in-house. So should you ever need anything, like I say, please do get in touch with us using your closest office to you with the details on the screen. So we do have some questions that have come in. Let me just switch to our Bitrix. So as I mentioned, we do have the cloud version of Bitrix loaded up here, and we also have the on-premise, so I can answer any questions that you may have in either. So we've got a couple of questions, as I mentioned, that have come in, and we'll start off really just by looking at some of the CRM reporting, because it's quite a common question that we get through, but somebody wanted to just distinguish between the lead reporting and the deals reporting, and I think it's quite a good place to look at. So if I go into our cloud version and look into the CRM, then we have leads and we have deals. So just to distinguish between the two, what we usually classify leads as are brand new inquiries, and Bitrix does offer a complete range of methods to get those leads into Bitrix. Everything from customized CRM forms that you can embed on your website, through to connecting Facebook Messenger up and getting the leads via that method. The telephony is another way to automatically generate leads, so you can generate leads from new telephone calls. And there's all sorts, there's live chat on your website. Bitrix offers the tools, and also Facebook, as I mentioned, Instagram. So there's quite a lot of different methods. So a lead, what we classify, as I mentioned, is a new inquiry. And then what we would do is we would qualify that inquiry through a series of different steps and then convert it into a deal. And what we classify deals as are qualified opportunities. So we can then know who are the more serious inquiries and concentrate our time and thoughts in qualifying and actually generating the sale in the deals. So that's just a quick overview of the leads in the deals section. The question was with regards to reporting, and if you click on the report side in the top right hand corner of leads, then what you have essentially is a overview dashboard of everything that's happening inside your lead section in this leads report. So at the moment, if I'm viewing as an administrator, then I will be able to see everything that we have in our system. We don't have too much in here, but just with it being a demonstration site, I think we can restore view with demo data. Let's take a look at that. So you can see here we have the funnel, so we can clearly see where all our leads are, and we can see where the leads have come from. we can see how many active and how many have been converted, and everything is depending on the widget settings, but generally everything is referring to this reporting period. So the last 30 days, we can have this month, the last 90, the month, the quarter, and the year. So we can set our reporting days. But one of the important things to know is that if you do have a role that allows you to see other people's leads, so maybe you're a sales manager and you can see your department's leads, then you will see all that data that you have access to. If your sales agent only has access to their own leads, then they would come to their reports and just see the information for their own leads. They would never be able to see data that is referring to another sales agent's leads, because the role that you've set within the CRM permissions will not allow them to do that. So it's quite good on a sales agent basis, because you do have this widget here that allows you to see where you rank within the sales team. And you can see here, if you are a sales manager, you can see how many activities a particular sales agent has booked in, how many leads they've converted, and so on and so forth. So you can see there. Bitrix refers to idle leads as leads that have been imported that haven't been touched yet. So you'll be able to see if you import 1,000 leads into the system, then it's essentially classifying them as idle leads because they've not been touched yet. So to create these reports, you can simply click on Add Report, click on Number, and if we wanted to, so you can reporting period by the filter, or you can set it to a pre-configured date range. But it may be that we want to see all the leads that have been converted, and we want to see the actual value, total amount of leads. So you can see here. And at the moment, we don't have any, but if I was to go into this particular, let's go back into a lead and specify a value. So we may want some, let's add a product to this particular lead. Save it, and then if we go back to our reports, in fact I think it's still going to be 0 because I haven't converted it. We would need to convert that particular lead, and it would be a value. So these dashboards are great for managers and for sales agents alone, but this is primarily looking at how many you've qualified. I would say this is more to do with how many leads you've qualified and how many active and how many the percentage and things like that. When we go into the deal side of things, we are looking more at a sales dashboard. So sales are generally going to be deals that have been won. So if I wanted to win this donation, then I could simply drag it and drop it into deals won here. So that's what deals are essentially for. You qualified them through the leads process, and then you concentrate them on a particular pipeline and work your way through and then generate that sale. So if I click into reports now, the data in here is solely referring to the amount of sales that have been generated inside Bitrix. So at the moment you can see that we have $10,000 in the total value. We can see where they are in the particular pipeline, in the sales funnel, and any that we've won in this time case, the last 30 days. So you can see that we currently have 10,000 in progress. So if I was to win that particular deal, so let's go into win and deal won, and then go into the reports. We should now see, you can see here, it's moved from the in progress to deals won. And this essentially again is referring to the roles side of things. So again, if you're a sales manager and you have access to seeing other salespeople's sales, then you will see that dashboard reflect that. And if you scroll down, you can see by employee. We only have one on here. But you'll be able to see, if you have multiple sales agents, you'll be able to see how well each particular sales agent is doing. If you are a sales agent that can only see their own deals, you can come to this dashboard and see how well you are performing on a personal level. You wouldn't be able to see anybody else's deals. and anybody else's data. So that's quite important to know. And that was really what the question was referring to. My final point, I think we may have touched it on, it was a question that came up last week, is if we go to the start, then we can have an overview on this dashboard. We can create an overview dashboard based on deals, invoices, leads, contacts, companies, and activities. So this start page here is solely referring to the any element of the CRM. So you can customize your own dashboard here. One of the questions that we did get is, can we push this out to sales agents or sales managers once an administrator sets it in terms of the widgetized dashboard? At the moment, we can't do that. We are looking at how to do that. And hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll be able to show you on a session to how to push those dashboards out for everybody. So just to touch upon what we can see here is that we can set sales targets for each sales agent. And if we broke down Max Smith, you can see at the moment we've got 1,500. He's got a $5,000 target, and he's got this remaining. And again, once if a sales agent has access to this, so a sales agent has access to the start menu, they will only see their own target. They obviously won't be able to change their sales target, but it's a good motivator for your sales team to be able to see what their target is, how much they've actually achieved, and where they are in terms of their target process. So, okay, so that's a quick overview really of the leads dashboard, the deals dashboard, and also what we have in this start. So we've had a couple of questions come through on YouTube. So can you make it so that a leads and deals have an expiration date? So probably, I mean, you could do, so I don't know, probably the best way to do that, I'm just trying to think how you could do that, is you would have maybe a field, you would create a custom field called expiration date and put a date in there. And then what you would have in your automation rules, maybe you would have an expired stage in here. And then what we could do is maybe on this one you can see it has a change stage. So if you just click into here and click change, then maybe what we could do is in exact time you can have, and you'll be able to select in this to say, if you created a custom field called expiration date, then you could select that. So let's just select close date. And what that would do is it would look at the custom field called expiration date and what the date is in there. And as soon as that date hits, then you would select expiration date on this list. We don't have that field, but we click close date. And as soon as that date hits, then it's going to move the deal into a specific stage in the pipeline. So we would have an expired stage, as I mentioned. So I think that would work really well. Then you would be able to know and be able to report and filter on how many expired deals you have. And it's exactly the same process in leads. You would have to create a custom field called expired lead and expired lead date. And then you would do exactly the same thing. It has the same action, and you would specify the time and date and then move it across. So how can I make a CRM port like a person daily activity based on a lead? For example, number of team member, company lead name, projection, total leads, meetings, mails. So what we tend to say in terms of activity is activity should be really, you can create filters on activities. So if we click into the activities section here, then what we can do is we can basically see a list. I'm an administrator in this site, so I can see a list of all activity that has been booked in for a particular user. So in this case, Max Smith is responsible for these calls, meetings, emails. So what I would do is have the ability to create a new report. So if you wanted to say meeting and outbound calls, specify the person that you want. So again, if you have access to other people, in the system, and maybe as a sales manager. And we could say, let's just say this week. So the start date, so this is activities for this week. You can pick today, you can pick tomorrow, it's completely up to you. And then we would have not completed here. So we could save that filter and just say max. So that's the user activity this week. Click on save, and then it will provide you with a list. We don't have any in here, we don't have too much data in this particular site, but it would provide you with a list of all activity that has been booked in for this. And then we can add fields if we want, so if you want deal and a lead. So if you only wanted to see for a particular deal or for a particular lead, you can filter out on that. And then you have all the other ones in here. So if we just click on search, and then based on the data in here, so I'll just click off just to show you the data. What you can do is click on this little gear icon, and you can specify what you want to see. So whether it's a start date, we can see who the contact is maybe in the CRM. We can see who the responsible person is. In our case, it would have been Max. This is the important one. As you mentioned, you want to see for unattended leads, so you can see there. But I want those activities based on a lead. So how can I find out which activity and which person did which activity on a lead? So you would have to, I'm not sure if you can filter out solely on a lead. I'm not sure you can do that. So on here, we would say deal and a lead. I think this would be deals. So it looks like you can't filter solely on a lead. Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't think you can actually specify whether it's a lead or a deal. So I don't think you can do that. Or I'm not aware of how to do that on here. So you would have to essentially, I don't know how you could split this up into just leads, because at the moment we have both deal and a lead. It may be that on the on-premise that you could maybe add a field into here and distinguish between a lead and a deal. But at the moment, this would all be all you would need to have, well, all you could have. So the status obviously means it's incomplete, and again, you can see for this particular date. With regards to total amount on the custom fields, product price plus commission rates, at the moment Bitrix doesn't have the ability to add those two fields together within a product. So I think what you would need to do, again, with the on-premise version, you do have a little bit more flexibility of what you can customize than you probably, well, we have done it before, where you can add two fields together. So you would have, in your case, you mentioned product price plus commission rate, so you get the total amount. So you couldn't do that as standard. I've not seen that done. You could probably customize the on-premise version to do that. So maybe get in touch with us if that's something that you need. So that just goes, if I just put our contact details back up on the screen. So do please keep your questions coming. Had a couple of good ones so far. And our contact details on the screen. As I mentioned, we are gold partners of Bitrix, and we provide support. We provide one-to-one demos if you're looking at getting stuck into Bitrix. Bitrix starts obviously on a free version, and it then moves up to, I think the standard package is $39 a month, and it goes straight to on the cloud version, the professional version, and straight to the on-premise version, which starts, I believe, at around approximately $1,500 for the license outright, and then the price for updates is around about 25% of that each year. So depending on which version of the on-premise version you have. So just got to reply to the point that I mentioned earlier. Can I implement in the cloud version? You couldn't implement what you're requesting in the cloud version now. The cloud version is a little bit restricted in terms of the customization element of it for doing things like you've requested there. So Okay. So with regards to, I've got another question that's come through. How can I export the work time and reports? I don't believe at the moment you can on the cloud version. So if you click into work time, at the moment there's no ability to export the time in here. With regards to the on-premise, I think we actually made a customization to this. It might not be on this site on here, but if you click into work time, we've actually we have for a client before had an export to CSV button here, and this has exported the time spent on here. So again, it's not possible on the cloud version at the moment. Okay, we have a question that came in earlier just with regards to building up your mailing lists inside Bitrix. So you'll be able to see, if I just go into our version here, and let's just pull up our CRM marketing. Let me just pull it up into the menu at the top. So what the question was with regards to how can I easily add new leads into a mailing list inside Bitrix. So for those of you that are new to Bitrix, it has a marketing package that integrates really well with the CRM. And it's pretty much, if you've been using something like MailChimp, then it's pretty similar to that, in all honesty. Obviously, the good thing about what Bitrix does is that you can create your mailing lists directly from your CRM that you have. So you never have to leave Bitrix. So this is a lot more powerful in terms of how you can work in here, build up your campaigns and actually report on those campaigns. So you can see that we have a segments section, and this is basically a mailing list. So you can create your very own mailing lists for email campaigns, for SMS campaigns, and telephony campaigns, so you can dial out as well. And the good thing about this is, the question was, how can I easily add a new lead into a mailing list? And all you would need to do is you would need to go into your CRM, and if we go into our list view to view the new leads, then what we can do is at the top of the page, say we've only got 4 leads in here at the moment, but at the top of the page we can create a filter to filter out who we want to be able to add to our mailing list. Now it may be that we want to add all our leads that have come from a source of advertising, for example. So if I add that source in here, click on search, then it's going to return all the leads that have a source of advertising, which is really good. So it's a filtered list. We click on the checkbox next to the lead, and then what we can do is click on select action at the bottom here and click on add to segment. Once we click on add to segment, we have the option whether we want to create a new segment, which is, as I mentioned, a segment is classed as a mailing list in Bitrix. So we can add a new one from the leads here. Or alternatively, what we can do is drop it into a mailing list that already exists on your system. So the ones that you can see here are the ones that you can see here. So it's as simple as that, really, to be able to add a lead into a new mailing list. And you can do that in each section. So if you wanted to pull up all the contacts that are in your CRM, you can simply create a filtered list, pull out all your contacts that meet the criteria of your filter, and add them to a new mailing list ready for you when you send your campaign out. They will just simply receive the email or SMS that you send it to. So click on here, click on CRM mailing list, and click on apply. And then that will drop Damien at intraface.com into the CRM mailing list. So it's quite a powerful tool to have. Okay. So when I was mentioning about another common question that we get, and it's definitely to take advantage of how to use Bitrix. Bitrix not only has email campaigns, but we have SMS campaigns. And these are becoming more and more popular, especially when communicating with leads. So people tend to respond better to an SMS rather than a telephone call. So we can send them here, and we can also have the ability to, when we click into a lead itself, we can click on SMS, and then we can choose our provider here. So that's what I'm referring to, that's what I'm about to refer to, sorry, is you do need to connect up your SMS provider to Bitrix. One that we would recommend is, if I just, the instructions of how to do so, Twilio Bitrix24, if you just Google that one. So you can see here, this is, and it's definitely a good tutorial to follow if you want to just test it out. So Bitrix has the integration with Twilio, and Twilio is an SMS provider who you can connect up to Bitrix to send out your SMS messages. So you can see, or it's a step-by-step instruction inside Twilio and inside Bitrix on how to connect up. And once you've connected up, then it's just going to be a case of where I was a moment ago. You can click on using provider, and you can see Twilio will be available if you've connected it up using the instructions that are provided on Bitrix. So you can send an SMS out of a lead, you can send one out of a deal, and you can send one out of a company or a contact. So if I was to click into Mike Black here, you can see exactly the same options to send an SMS, and it is as simple as sending an email out of Bitrix. And then that would send Mike a straight SMS straight to the number that's provided on their account. So it's as simple as that, really, to send a message out. So whilst we're in here, just as we don't have too many questions come through at the moment, but while we're in here, what Bitrix offers, again, for those of you that are relatively new to Bitrix, it has a telephony system. So you can connect and integrate your telephony into Bitrix. So that essentially means that if somebody was to dial your number, it would pop up inside Bitrix, and then you'd be able to pick it up. And if you were to click on this number here, it would dial out of Bitrix here too. So it is a really simple and easy to use telephony system. And the good thing about what it does, and the reason why I'm just talking about it, this here on Mike Black's profile, is that we've called him on the 18th of February. So it was an outbound call, and you can see here that it does a recording of that particular phone call out of Bitrix. So it's a history of communication that gets added to the contacts activity stream, and you can play it, and depending on your permissions inside the CRM, so if you can see other people's contacts, so at the moment John Smith is responsible for this contact. If you can see John Smith's contacts, then you'll be able to also listen to that telephone call that you had, that John Smith had with that particular client. So it's definitely a really good way of building up a history and seeing a history of your communications with that particular contact inside the CRM. So for those of you that are interested in the telephony, then there is a telephony link in the left-hand menu. And you can see you would add balances, but the first place to go to would be connection, and then you would basically decide what type of connection you want. So you can rent a phone number from Bitrix, which is probably one of the more popular options. You can connect your PBX, and if you need assistance with that, please do get in touch with us. We can help with that. Or you can connect to your own number. but it's only outbound calls only in terms of that. If you want to rent a number, just as simple as select your location. So I can select the USA. I can have it as a local number, specify the state, and then I can specify the region. And now you can see it's going to be $4 a month to rent that number. So it's as simple as that. It's quite easy and straightforward to rent. There are then obviously call rates on top of that charge. So there is a call rate card inside on the Bitrix website, so you'll be able to see how much each call will cost. It's very little, and it's very competitive, so it's definitely a good thing to do if you are planning on using the telephony inside Bitrix. Okay, so I'm adding commission rate with custom field in product. Then why is it not possible to calculate the total amount equals product plus price? I mean, if you're on the cloud version, it's just not possible. There's no way of being able to add a calculated field on that particular product entry. We can't do that, unfortunately. On the on-premise version, you could do, because you have access to the functionality and the code behind that particular product. So we can access the component that builds the product. On the cloud version, we just simply can't do that, unfortunately. Hello, I can't connect to Messenger with Bitrix. So if you're referring to Facebook Messenger, I think that's what you may be referring to. So it's quite straightforward to connect. It should be quite straightforward to connect the Messenger to Bitrix. So if you go into the open channels, click on Facebook, and then what you do is you can see here there would be a connect button. If I click on connect here, I'm not sure if we've got any account. Oh, we do. So we can say we'll connect to Intraface. So these are all my pages that I'm an administrator of inside Facebook. Click on connect, and then you can see the page has been linked. It's as simple as that. And then that should be how straightforward it is. I know you're saying I tried the open channel but it doesn't work. I don't know what error message you're getting. Maybe get in touch with us and we can probably assist. Or there is a support chat widget on the right hand side if you're on the cloud version of Bitrix. But that's essentially all you would need to do. And once you've linked the page, so I've currently linked Intraface, if I was to then go to Facebook and connect, so I'm not going to go to Facebook on here, but if a customer was to go to Facebook, our business page Intraface, submit a message, it would come through the open chat channel widget here as a chat, and you would have a one-to-one conversation whilst that person is on Facebook and you are inside Bitrix, and from that you can generate a lead. So I do that with Instagram, but when I test it in messages, it does not arrive. So I'm not 100% sure why. If you're, like I say, it's very difficult to diagnose issues on here. If you've connected it up, it should arrive through this little widget. Just make sure that you are a user in the queue who receives these, and just make sure that when you do the configuration, how it's being set. So you can see here. You do have a lot of different parameters that you can set. So you can even include chatbots in here to automatically respond to people that are trying to communicate with you on your Facebook business page. Okay, so yeah, with regards to Instagram, you can do the same as well in the Instagram side of things. So if somebody private messages you, you can come in through here. So yeah, it's quite a good way of doing it. And then you've got, well, whilst we're in here, you've not only got Instagram and Facebook, but you've got the live chat, which you can embed on your website. So we've just got a little bit another question just with regards to the customized field in Bitrix. You're going to have to contact Bitrix. It's not something I can help with, unfortunately. So just get in touch with Bitrix. They do have a support. So if you go to Bitrix24 website, click on the support link in the top, and you'll be able to have a chat with Bitrix, and they should be able to sort that for you. Unfortunately, I can't on here solve issues with things that you're having, unfortunately. So we do have our contact details here, so if you do want to get in touch with us, as I mentioned, for those support queries, Bitrix do offer support. There is a chat widget in cloud versions and the on-premise version, so you could contact them via live chat. They can sometimes take a little bit of time, so up to 24 hours to resolve any issues, depending on the level of the issue that's being caused. But if you do want telephone support, or if you want ticketing support that within 1 to 2 hours response rate, then please do get in touch with us, and we can help you. So there are details on there. So please do put your questions in the box on YouTube. We have around about 15-20 minutes left, so I can answer any questions that you may have. Just while I've talked a little bit about the on-premise version, just with its capabilities of being customized. So it is a very customizable platform on the on-premise, and that's one reason why quite a lot of people do choose this. It's relatively inexpensive in terms of starting at around about $1,500 for the year, and for the lifetime license, and then there's a 25% of that, so around about $300 to $400 every year renewal, and that gives you the updates. So it's quite a powerful system, but it gives you a little bit more flexibility. If there's something that Bitrix doesn't do on the cloud, then the likelihood is it can be customized on the on-premise version. So we have things like that we've developed. We have things like the news page. So we've customized the news page that comes with Bitrix, and we've added our widgetized news section here. So we can add new news and make it look a little bit more user-friendly. A lot of people use Bitrix for an intranet and so an internal communication inside the business, and essentially the things that you can do on the on-premise are a little bit more, like I say, you can customizable on here. So we can have news posts and respond to news that's maybe been submitted through the business. Okay. Let's see if we have any more questions. So I've got, how can I submit a form and have it create leads? So Bitrix does provide you with, I mentioned when we looked at originally at the lead reporting. So you can see here, we're on the lead reports at the moment, and there is a CRM form source. So whatever version of Bitrix you are using, there is an option to create CRM forms. And these forms are really simple to build, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And they're really easy to embed on your website. It's not only, if you've got the on-premise version, you can also embed them internally on a page, any page within the system. But if we click on Add New Form and click on, let's just call this Bitrix Q&A registration, and then we'll say, so this is the name of the form inside Bitrix, just to give you a label and understand what the form is for. And then we can say, let's just say register for webinar, Q&A session. So this is the title that the user will see. And then we'll say, please fill the form below. So we've given it a title, we've given it a short description, and then what we can do is on the right hand side we can easily pull in fields for the form, and we're going to do it from the lead. So we're going to say name, we're going to say last name, we want to grab their email, so we can grab their email. So these are all form fields that exist inside a lead. So if you make a custom field, you can include that in your form. Maybe we want the phone, and I suppose that's everything we would need for somebody to register, so we could post out. If we want to change a form label, click on the gear icon and click on first name. We can make it a required field if we want. And then when we scroll down, we can break it up and style it a little bit better on here, so we can break it up into sections. So we've got first name, last name, email and phone. Who's going to be the responsible person when this new lead is going to be created? And it's going to be John Smith, the user I'm logged in as. This is quite handy. This is relatively new. Don't assign a responsible person if not checked in or away. So if somebody is on the absence chart in Bitrix and they are away for the week, then it won't make it for this responsible person. So that's quite a useful one. So we can check that. And then if we move down, we can remove the Bitrix24 signature, so we don't have to say Bitrix24. In our case, we're going to create a new lead. We could create a new contact instead. We can create a deal and a contact and drop it straight into a deal pipeline. Quote and a contact, or we could create an invoice as well. In our case, we're just going to create a lead. This is really useful. We can merge if the email address and the phone number already exist inside Bitrix. So if somebody keeps submitting the same form, then it's going to update that particular CRM entry in the lead. We could replace it completely, or we could allow duplicates. It's completely up to you and your preference how this data is being submitted into Bitrix. Field rules are quite handy. So if you have conditional elements to your form, so maybe if you had a drop down, so we could say let's drag in a source that is a drop down field in ours, or we could say region. Let's just pull in region, sorry. So region. So you can see here region, that's a drop down, and we have a number of different regions in here. So if we get down here, so add rule. So we could say if, and then select region equals Arkansas, then we can show the phone field. Or you obviously wouldn't show the phone field, but there may be another field that you might show. So originally it's hidden, and only until the user selects Arkansas in your form, then only would it then show the phone field. And you can do the opposite as well. So if they were to select this, you could hide this. So these fields and these conditional elements of forms are really handy because it allows you to really build up a customized form to get the data from the people submitting it that are based on what they're selecting in that particular form. You can add to your Google funnel. You can style it however you wish. You can use your own CSS styling, so whatever the form looks like, it doesn't just look like it's stuck onto your website, so you can use your own styling. Have a success message, redirect to a thank you URL or a try again URL. And we would always recommend using the reCAPTCHA because it stops spam getting into the CRM. If you want it as a callback form, that's also possible to include it in a website widget that Bitrix has that has a little phone icon, and they would then submit the form and Bitrix would automatically dial that customer back. So that's quite handy if you want that. So once we click save, that form will save and it will show you here, so Bitrix Q&A registration. You can see it's currently grayed out, so you just need to make sure it's enabled. And then what we can do is we would get the embed code and embed it onto our website. So these embed onto anything really, WordPress sites, obviously HTML, just standard websites you can embed them onto. You can have it as a form on a page, a button that you click and it pops up, a text link you click and it pops up, or you could have it as a time delay. So when somebody arrives on your website, you can have it pop up on there too. So these different methods are really useful. Alternatively, you can click on here and get the public link. So you can see on here we have our name. So I could say Tom Taylor, and we could say and then if we say Arkansas, or we can say, and then once we've submitted it. One thing to point out with this page, again, on the self-hosted version, you can actually tailor these public form pages to be branded however you wish. However, for those of you, again, that are relatively new to Bitrix, Bitrix does have a sites module, and that allows you to create your own landing pages, and you could essentially embed your form onto that landing page, which would be pretty much exactly the same method as this public form. So maybe I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So if we click into our leads now, we'll be able to see, if we just click off advertising, so you can see here, complete CRM form from Bitrix Q&A registration. So I click into here, and you should be able to see the information that I've got here. Region, selected Richmond, phone number, email, and then it's as simple as that really. We have some automation rules that automatically send a email back out to the customer. So you can see there it's sent the email out, and then it's scheduled an outbound call in for an introduction call. So that's based on the automation set here. Send thank you email, change the status of the lead to call client. Once it hits call client, it's going to schedule the introduction call. And then it's going to wait 3 days, and then in 3 days it's going to notify the supervisor to say this lead is still in call client after 3 days, and essentially it shouldn't be. It should be progressed through and qualified a little bit more on here. So it's definitely a good way of progressing and generating leads using these CRM forms. And you can see the source is CRM form here. So I did briefly mention, I just jumped to our sites. So if I come into here, so Bitrix offers you the ability to create landing pages and your own websites. So you go into the sites menu on the left hand side, click on new site, and you will be given lots of templates to choose from. Once you've selected it, then you can, I'll visit the site here. So this is one that we've created as a landing page. And you can see here, this is a CRM form. So rather than maybe having it on the public page link, you can create your own Bitrix24 site. You can put it on your own domain. So you can see here we have landing.intraface.com. We have the widgets, so if we wanted to live chat to somebody, I'm logged in as a minute, so I can't live chat to anybody on the site. But you can see we can request a callback, so that was what I was referring to with a callback form, or you can specify another type of form on your website widget. So this is all built inside Bitrix by a drag and drop editor tool. So you can see in here we have the ability to add forms, add text, add images. This is maybe a form that we've removed recently, so the form is no longer exists, so we would just need to update that element of it. But it's really simple and straightforward to edit. So if I clicked on here and clicked on, let's click on view pages. We should only have one page on here, I believe. That's it, is a landing page. If I click on edit, it's going to take me through to the site editor. So you can see on here how easy it is to, so this is what our template would originally look like. Click on edit. You can see that we have the text. You don't have to know any code at all. We can specify what CRM form we want. So it may be that we want to use another one, so maybe free cake recipes. Click save, and you can see here we have a completely different form. And that's how easy it is really to start building up. If we then clicked on edit, we might want a different background image. Bitrix does have some great tools to be able to find royalty-free images. I'm not going to actually edit that image, maybe upload. And we can maybe click on here, and you can see, let's add this one instead. So we can add an ice cream cone. Maybe it's a little bit small. You're going to have a play around with these things. So I'm not sure if there's any other ones in here. So maybe cake. Let's have a look. So maybe this one would be quite good to use. I'm not sure how big it is yet. Okay, so if we click on save, so you can see now we have a different background with cupcakes on instead. So it's very straightforward, very easy to add these images. You can quickly source them. And the one final thing with these sites is that they are responsive. So you can specify, see it on a mobile, and everything looks exactly what it should do on a mobile version of your system. So those are pretty handy. So like I say, you can create full-blown websites on here. So you can create a multi-page website. You don't have to just create landing pages. But these landing pages are really good for marketing. So if you had a marketing campaign on, it can take you as quick and as short as 15 to 20 minutes to build one of those landing pages for your marketing campaign. And essentially what that's going to do is going to generate you leads from any email campaigns maybe that you sent out that link to that landing page. Okay, so I don't think we've got any more questions that have come through. So like I mentioned, we are here every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time for 1 hour. So we can answer any questions that come through live on the screen. For the support questions, it's quite, sometimes if you're having problems, it's very difficult to assess and diagnose those problems online. And so I would either recommend getting in touch with us, and we can maybe, depending on if you wanted to take out support with us. Alternatively, if we have an issue, then you can get in touch with Bitrix. Bitrix have a support, so you can have live chat with Bitrix. It can be sometimes staggered in terms of the responses based on what needs resolving, but they will fix anything for you. Can you change the default email welcome message? I'm not sure which welcome message you mean. I know you can change, on the on-premise you can change any email content, but with regards to if you're inviting a user in, you essentially write a message to the user when you invite them. So if I went to employees here and invite users and invite using email, this is the message that you can type in for them to receive, if that's what you're meaning. So you can write whatever you want in there, and that should replace the invite message. That's where you should be inviting them to. So you invite employee, put them in a particular department, and then if you wanted to add them to a work group, you can do. Can you explain how to e-structure deals and leads? I'm not sure what you mean by e-structure, but essentially your leads would always be your starting point for a new inquiry, and then you create your statuses for your lead, and then you can, once you convert that lead, you drop it into, so you set your pipelines up for your deals, then drop it into a pipeline and work your way through the stages of a particular deal. If you do need a detailed explanation and a run through, please do get in touch with us, like I say, and we can organise one-to-one demonstrations to show you if you're interested in using Bitrix. And we also offer training sessions as well. So like I say, our details are up there. But I think for now, that's all we have. And we do have, just to point out one last point, we do have a webinar every Monday at 11 AM Eastern Time. And it basically focuses on different elements. So we have a project management focused webinar, we have CRM focused webinars, telephony, and Bitrix24 sites. All our webinars are recorded, so go on to the Interface YouTube channel and you can see on there. Okay, so thanks very much for your time, and I'll see you on Monday.